Thursday night, Indiana Fever and Atlanta Dream played. Indiana Fever is where Caitlin Clark plays. Atlanta Dream is where Brittney Griner plays. Now you tell me what it looks like Brittney Griner is saying here.
Former NCAA swimmer Riley Gaines has confidently taken center stage, publicly confronting Brittney Griner and insisting on accountability as the WNBA deals with mounting criticism. Fans across the country are furious over the league's silence regarding Griner's startling remarks about Caitlin Clark, fueling a heated controversy that Gaines is determined to challenge.
Brittney Griner just called Caitlin Clark a trash effing white girl. Caitlin Clark has been picked on and abused ever since she entered the league in 2024, and now Brittney Griner is joining.
In the Indiana Fever's close 81-76 win against the Atlanta Dream on May 23, 2025, cameras captured a tense moment when Brittney Griner fouled out, visibly upset. As she exited the court, attentive fans and social media lip readers claimed that Griner seemed to make inflammatory comments toward Caitlin Clark, allegedly calling her trash and using other expletives.
For a little bit of context, this was in the fourth quarter after Brittney Griner fouled out against Caitlin Clark, and Indiana Fever would go on to win by 5. Now I'm going to tell you what I think she said. Let's play it back. Looks to me like she is saying trash and then calling Caitlin Clark a bleep.
Caitlin Clark's impact on viewership has been truly transformative, establishing her as the WNBA's most valuable player and attracting audiences unprecedented in the league's history. Despite this commercial success, which makes safeguarding the league's top star essential, the organization has responded with complete silence.
This is who Joe Biden traded for the Russian merchant of death. So many WNBA players hate Caitlin Clark so much when she is the best thing that could have happened to the league. And she's not the best thing that happened to the league because she's white. It's because she's a good player. It's because she...
As the WNBA stayed notably silent, Riley Gaines stepped forward as the voice of accountability that fans had been waiting for. The former NCAA swimmer and current social activist openly addressed what she witnessed, posting the controversial video on her social media with a caption that struck at the core of the issue. She reminded everyone that this is the individual we exchanged for the Russian merchant of death.
After she fouled out, she decided to take her anger and frustration out on Caitlin Clark. If the roles were reversed, imagine the type of field day the media would be having right now. Let's all remember the character of Brittney Griner. This is the same woman who got caught smoking weed in Russia and was jailed. And then Joe Biden made a trade for the merchant of death and returned him back to Russia for him to continue doing the same shenanigans that he was doing before he...
Gaines's bold position quickly struck a chord with fans who had been hoping for a credible voice to confront what they had seen firsthand. By referencing Griner's prisoner exchange, she underscored the unsettling fact that the United States had swapped a convicted arms dealer, known as the Merchant of Death, for someone who would allegedly make insensitive remarks toward one of America's most cherished young basketball stars.
Imagine if Caitlin Clark said the inverse of this. It would be reprehensible, condemned, and understandably so. You've got all of these individual players. You have sports commentators, people like Ryan Clark, who constantly tout of the racial tensions that exist in the league, when in reality, they are the ones perpetuating and amplifying these racial tensions with their anti-white hatred for Caitlin.
The former swimmer's experience provided her with distinctive credibility to comment on fairness and competition in women's sports. Having previously questioned the participation of transgender athletes in women's events, Gaines had already proven herself willing to take unpopular positions when principles demanded it. Her criticism of Griner marked another instance where she chose not to stay silent in the face of clear injustice, despite the potential backlash from progressive sports media.
Of outstanding basketball players who happen to be black females that was doing their thing on the WNBA level. And they never got this kind of shine. This girl, the Golden Goose, comes along and she wreaks havoc. She's the Rookie of the Year. She's 4th in the league in MVP voting. 4th in the league, her rookie year. Wow. Outstanding.
Even with video evidence going viral on social media and widespread public demands for an investigation, the WNBA has remained completely silent on the Griner incident. This selective enforcement of league rules has drawn criticism from politicians, media figures, and fans who perceive a troubling pattern of bias in how the organization addresses controversies. The league's own No Space for Hate campaign, launched before the season with much fanfare, now appears to be applied inconsistently depending on which players are involved.
Excuse me, good to hear from you. Talking to Jamil Hill. Grifting, LOL. I didn't ask for the platform I have. I simply said men and women's sports is wrong, which you, as a self-proclaimed women's sports enthusiast, have yet to do. So I asked directly, do men belong in women's sports? Silence is an answer, by the way.
Outkick, one of the few media outlets willing to investigate the story, sent multiple requests for comment to both the WNBA and Griner's management team, seeking clarification on what was said and who the remarks were directed at. Both parties responded with complete silence, despite having ample opportunity to clarify if the comments had been misunderstood. This refusal to address the issue suggests an awareness that any truthful explanation would likely worsen the situation.
Insert what Griner says, there is one way to find out. Ask Brittney Griner. However, no one has done that except for Outkick. It's been over 2 weeks since Griner said this. Instead, the WNBA was investigating a bogus race hoax made up by Angel Reese about Indiana Fever fans. And I say bogus because they found no evidence that supports Angel Reese's claims. So we at Outkick applied for media credentials to cover Brittney Griner's team, the Atlanta Dreams, game on June 6th, to which, shocker, they denied us. We've never had trouble getting media credentials with any professional sports league in the past, but wouldn't you know, now they suddenly have very limited space, which is total baloney. They just want to suppress any sort of uncomfortable.
The league's hypocrisy is even more evident given that credentialed WNBA reporters had multiple chances to question Griner about the incident during post-game interviews, yet not one journalist raised the issue. This coordinated silence from both the league and its media partners reveals a level of protection that would likely never be afforded to a white player in a similar situation. The controversy grew even more troubling when Caitlin Clark was forced to sit out.
To the WNBA and to Griner's, quote, management team several times, but hasn't received a single response. Still, Griner has participated in multiple games. Now remember, this is a league that says we have a zero tolerance policy against hate words, words of hate, racism, sexism, any kind of ism. But yet nothing on Brittney Griner? Well, she's played in multiple games. The media has had plenty of access to ask her a question.
Caitlin Clark missed the recent Atlanta Dream game due to a left quad strain, keeping her out for 5 consecutive games. While the official reason points to an injury sustained during the May 24th game against the New York Liberty, the timing raises serious concerns about the physical and emotional toll that targeted harassment has had on the league's top star. Clark's absence represents more than just a missed game. It highlights the WNBA's failure to protect its most valuable player from the aggressive behavior that Griner has repeatedly shown. The fact that Clark had to sit out against Griner's team, while Griner faced no consequences for her alleged slur, creates a public relations issue the league may struggle to overcome.
Yet not a single one does. Danny Z and Outkick requested a media credential for the Atlanta Dream game in LA against the Sparks May 27th. The Sparks denied our request. Okay? Outkick requested a media credential from that vaunted Atlanta Dream against the Connecticut Sun game on a Friday night.
Caitlin Clark has missed multiple games due to a quad injury, raising concerns about the physical and emotional toll of targeted harassment, while Brittney Griner faced no consequences and even celebrated victories on social media. Fans are outraged at the league's silence and apparent double standards, seeing Clark as the WNBA's most valuable star left unprotected. Media bias and selective reporting have amplified frustrations, as journalists avoid questioning Griner while criticizing those who speak out. The controversy highlights the league's failure to enforce consistent standards, damaging credibility and fan trust. Immediate accountability for Griner and proper protection for Clark are essential to preserve the WNBA's growth and reputation.